Hello, welcome to the First Issue Club. We're your weekly comic book podcast where, just like Sue Storm, we love a good read. This week, we're doing the Happy New Year thing, taking a look back upon the year that we've just had. I think we're just coming with some of our personal faves from our own self-made categories, and we'll just see what takes everybody has as we peruse through 2025. Who's with me today?
Greg, but it's like a new Greg. Sir. I'm not as sure as myself in 2026. I'm seeing. I don't know when to jump on the microphone. Just really stumbling over my words. So already off to a great start, and I have no reservations about what we're going to be doing in the year to come.
I also have no reservations, but in a enlightened and proactive way.
Like Anthony Bourdain.
Yeah.
But like
'cause
happier.
I am Vargas, and I am ready to go in 2026. Nothing's going to stop me. Look out, world. Here I come.
Ugh, haunting.
It's the greatest showman quote.
The monotone.
We love
Here I come.
Yeah.
Here I come.
I'm in your closet already.
Any comic book news before we get into our retrospective?
Yeah, a few things actually. I think we'd be remiss if we didn't mention that Penguin Random House is now the strong arm of the comic book industry and doesn't give a goddamn if any of the comic books get destroyed or beat up. They'll just pay the bill and say, "Be on your way." Of course, I'm referring to the Marvel blind bags that I think every shipment got punched before it left the warehouse. And they said, "Just deal with it, nerds. Your little cartoon books will be fine."
They're reissuing though, right? Like they're sending out more, right?
You would assume as part of a
Yeah, well, they'd have to, yeah.
You don't just say, "Oh, everything damaged is free now," and you send out damaged products to your customers. I know that people. One of the tough things about it is that there's a bunch of original art that's been tucked away in these blind bags, and I've seen a handful of them pop up on eBay already. And I mean, what a drag to get like something like that score on something like this as a collector, and then have like the spine just be like absolutely rolled. I saw a really cool Todd Newick one. I don't know if that's exactly how you say his name, but some of his have popped up on eBay, and they've all got like several spine dings in them. So I think they're telling retailers to just keep these, because otherwise, how would you know where all the original art is going?
Right.
It's a really bad one to muff the punt on. Just like logistically speaking, like how do you deliver on the promise of some of these are going to have original art to customers, while at the same time doing right by the retailers and customers in replacing the thing? It's like those ideas don't align, so I don't really know what's going to happen with it.
Well, here's my question. Do they have to do new original art now? Because all of those, as well as the regular covers that were in these blind bags, got damaged. So for any collector that wanted like a nice, crispy, hopefully 9.6, 9.8 original artwork, they're not going to get it. And they, kind of promised on the idea that you could potentially get one of those. They're going to have to make new original art sketches, I'm assuming, right?
I don't think that's going to happen. People are already selling the bags, damaged or not.
Bummer.
The chaos agent in me kind of likes that none of the original art is like grade worthy.
Yeah, you've completely fucked the secondary market, which is awesome.
Yeah, like there's a part of me that's like, suck it, dorks. Like, the people that ordered like 20 blind bags just trying to like pull the ratio stuff, like there's a little bad part of me that takes pleasure in knowing that they're all not going to be 9/8.
I see what you're saying. Like the collector in me is like, that's just annoying, period, and it's a
Yeah.
bad precedent for how these bigger companies handling these things are going to care less and less about the actual things that they're shipping out. But the sneaker culture, baseball card culture of it coming into comic books is like it's satisfying. It's potentially satisfying in that regard, that like especially the like people who are loaded, who buy like hundreds and hundreds of bags to open on live stream and are doing it because they're an influencer or not because they like want to read a comic and might get a chance to buy something. They're like, those are definitely the people who will be like repackaging stuff and just trying to sell it for $1,000 on eBay.
Yep.
You know what else I heard about these fucking blind bags from Marvel? Cover A is also in the bag.
No, it's not.
Cover they've included the cover A within the blind bag. That shouldn't happen. Right? Am I crazy?
It's just the regular.
The
It's not like
regular
a,
cover, dead ass, just like they're like
I would
hee,
be-
hee, hee, hee.
yeah, I would be livid.
I'd be so pissed off if I pulled the cover A. I would be like,
Yeah.
no, mm-mm.
Because you can just buy cover A raw,
Yeah.
right?
Straight off the shelf. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. If it was, because the way Battle Beast did their releases, everything was in a bag. So if you get the A cover, you get that's part of it. But yeah, if you can buy the A off the shelf, the A should not be in the bags. Maybe a foil version of the A.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Like, or a virgin version,
Mhm.
something that differentiates it a bit.
Yeah.
That sucks though.
Embossed, cool. But like just straight up cover A that's already on the shelf? No. No, thank you.
That's annoying.
I think a lot of these companies are going to find that like, well, they're all trying to cash in on the hype surrounding the Battle Beasts thing.
Yes.
But the Battle Beast people did it right. They
Mhm.
understood
Mhm.
what was going to be fun and exciting about it, that you could get maybe a special different issue or a preview of the next issue. There were so many fun things in those bags that we've continuously had publishers like be like, we need to do a version of that, without understanding what made it good.
Yeah, some marketing idiot came in and was just like, listen, this is making dollars. We'll do the same thing and make just as many dollars. Wherein you're just kind of missing the key part of the fun element of what made the Battle Beast and blind bags thing. You know, we could talk blind bags for the next 35 minutes. And that really did take hold in 2025. So it is kind of, you know, apropos that we are speaking about blind bags in the retrospective episode.
Yeah.
It will take 5 whole years for it to get out of the comic book community. So sit back and get ready. I'm ready for it to be gone.
Marvel has at least one more loaded in the chamber. They're doing the Daredevil blind bags. I'm sure DC will do a blind bag for whatever comes after KO.
TKO.
I bet they do blind bags for those crossover issues that they're doing with all the different like universe,
like that.
You know what I'm talking about? Whatever they're doing with KO, where whatever Superman's gonna train with Homelander and the doll from Annabelle or whatever.
That shit. Have we talked about that yet?
No, and I'm legitimately super excited about it because that's my kind of garbage.
I wish you could have been in the room when I read that article. I was like a nuclear bomb, just radiating anger.
Oh man!
And I love stupid shit. Bring it on. Bring on the dumb shit. This is not what I wanted. I'd rather have Hush 3 than what the fuck that is.
Bro, you know you're getting Hush 3, right? Speaking of 2026.
What else is there to say for Hush?
Oh boy. Does anybody have any other news? I feel like I had a thing, but I can't remember what it was.
Besides the slow drip of this Avengers Doomsday thing that's happening, I mean, there's been some cool announcements. Jonah Hex is coming to the new DC Next Level along with League of
Cool.
Superheroes. No creators have been attached yet, but like they're kind of showing us that what the landscape's going to look like after DCKO and Absolute versus Stain. So we'll just have to figure out what's going to be DC in the year 2026. But Jonah Hex will be there, and I'm kind of excited for that. I enjoy Jonah Hex more than I probably should.
I wonder if they'll bring Jimmy Palmiotti back, because I feel like he's like the only person that's written Jonah Hex in the last like 20 years.
Mhm.
Oh, that was it. R.I.P. Zdarsky Comics News.
Oh yes, rest in piss.
Rest in-
I'm kidding. Love Zdarsky news, and that had to be such an undertaking to do,
Yeah.
and to give it away for free, which was phenomenal. It's just I'm glad we had it for the time that we did, and I will not mourn. I will celebrate.
Yeah. I wish somebody else would have like stepped up and taken that from him and like carried the torch.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was easily the best version of comic book news that we've ever been blessed with, and it only lasted 18 issues. But if there was somebody who had to do it, I'm glad it was Chip Zdarsky.
What a labor of love. All right, before we go any further, Fish Issue Club is brought to you by Space Camper Cosmic IPA, lovingly brewed at Boulevard Brewing Company, a delightfully scrumptious IPA that comes in a lot of different varietals. There's a 0 ABV version of this as well. So
Zero Gravity.
whether
It's my favorite.
whether you're having a party night or taking it easy and just want some delicious hops, Boulevard Brewing Company's got you covered with the Space Camper Cosmic IPA family of beers.
Yum yum, give me some down to my tum tum. Space Camper IPA. It's not a beer. It is a journey. And when we say lovingly made in Boulevard, we mean that. Every night they tuck in the kegs, read them a story, give them a kiss on their little keg foreheads, and they say, "We'll see you tomorrow. We love you." And then they turn off the lights one by one. And there's one little night light in the corner. That's our faces, so they don't get too scared at night.
Yep, that's exactly how it happens. They go over that on the tour.
Mm-hmm. Well, they have like how they have like that eagle cam to watch, like for like the national forests can like watch. Yeah, like, come watch an eagle. They have that at Boulevard. You can like watch the keg sleep and like play during the day. So that's kind of a cool interactive thing they got going on.
Yeah, I set that up right next to my baby monitor every night.
So you can watch your two babies sleep.
I watch my two babies sleep.
Good night, you Pilsners of Maine, you kegs of New England.
That was a good one, Mike D.
All right. What did you guys have? We just said, hey, let's do a retrospective sort of episode.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of left that up to each of us to interpret that however we will. I've got, for example, like some nominees for a bunch of different things, and then a pick of what my favorite was of those items.
Okay.
But what did you guys do? How do you want to roll through our picks?
Well, in classic Vargas fashion,
Mm-hmm.
I just made a list of the stuff that like blew me away this year.
Yeah.
So that's what I got. I do have a singular pick for my publisher of the year, or at least the publisher that I thought had the best year.
The best year, or like you enjoyed the most? Because there is a publisher that had the best year financially.
Well, I mean, yes, somebody won the dollars game, and it was DC.
It was DC by a mile.
But yes, this is the publisher that I think had had the best year in terms of like,
Okay.
I
It's
don't
the
know.
publisher you wrote the most in your notebook during class of just like little hearts around it.
Yeah, they had the most bang for your buck in
Okay.
terms of comic book goodness. But other than that, it's literally just a list of like individual books that completely blew me away.
Sweet.
Well, let's start with publishers then and talk about it. For mine, I wrote down a handful that struck me. I think obviously DC with Absolute, DCKO, and the whole All In initiative. Like so many things over the past year have had a lot of hype and excitement surrounding them. And not just, we already talked about DC selling really well, but they really delivered on quality and quantity this year too. Image, this was the blind bag year
Mhm.
for for Image. They did the Battle Beast book that we already discussed again, and kind of like changed the hype beast culture of of comic books, for better or worse, like in a single year. But you got to give them, I think, a little bit of credit for the sea change in the community with that moment that had. And then things like Exquisite Corpses, which we've obviously loved, one of our favorite comics of the year. um, I wanted to shout out in a publisher's list Ignition, that
Oh yeah.
is launching a lot of new titles from great creators, and I've really enjoyed a lot of those so far. Not It's not often that a new publisher comes on the scene and delivers this much quality and that much quantity
Mhm.
out of the gate. So I thought they were worth shouting out. Marvel, that's the publisher I bought the most of, and there's a lot of awesome things that like continued into 2025. But um, I think not as exciting as we've had of a release schedule from them in years past. This was not the year that we introduced the Ultimate Universe, but a lot of those things um, kept coming out and stayed of great quality. I loved a lot of those series, but as far as events go, um, there wasn't anything that came close to touching the excitement that DC had around all the Absolute books and a couple other all-in specials this past year. Um, am I missing any publishers that you guys wanted to shout out of that list?
Yeah. So last year, I know that I had my publisher to watch, which was Mad Cave Studios. And they followed through with having a phenomenal year in 2025. They wrestled down some really popular properties from uh, Dick Tracy's Speed Racer, Captain Planet, you name it from your childhood, they got it. And then, so I just want to continue with that trend of just like, I think from all of the success that they had with their year this year of 2025, I think 2026 is going to produce some pretty phenomenal things from Mad Cave. So while they may not have been the most influential publisher this year, they definitely were the most consistent, and you know r- they were reliable with the content that they put out as far as quality. Like it wasn't just cash grabs and just weak investments into these properties that they purchased. They really kind of doubled down and made compelling stories for these things, as well as creating new indie books that were also exciting to read. So, you know, they aren't DC, they aren't Marvel, and they're not trying to be, but they are one of the indie publishers right now that is really dedicated to, you know, newer voices coming into the industry and laying out a landscape where they can kind of cut their teeth and get to be known. Like, they could be the next James Tynion or, Kelly Thompson or whoever. Mad Cave, I think, to me, is the place where those creators will start going. And, that used to be Image Comics. And I don't know if Image Comics is really that kind of institution anymore, really. They've established themselves as like, you know, the indie place, but it's really just like the popular indie place, like Best Buy or something, or Sam Goody. It's just like I don't know if the indie tag can be held with Image anymore. They're more of a mainstream thing, but I think in the year 2026, Mad Cave will continue that trend and maybe start forecasting towards a real heavy hitter and spotlight stealer than they have been in previous years.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. Ignition was the publisher that I think had the highlight year. They started and launched all these incredible titles. Deluge, Murder Podcast, No Place, all absolute heaters from a brand new
Mhm.
company. But it was tight in my head between them and Mad Cave, just for all the stuff Greg just said. Um, Mad Cave made some huge swings acquiring all those IPs and absolutely delivered on it. I was super skeptical when they announced all their like plans of doing, you know, tie-ins and spin-offs and
Mhm.
annuals and crossovers and all this stuff, but like, you know, if it works, it works,
Yeah,
and it
exactly.
worked.
If it works, it works, and it worked.
Like, yeah. So it's cool to see indie books really succeed. Um and that's, I guess, not to ignore stuff like Ghost Machine is still putting out some absolute heat.
Sure.
Same with, Boom putting out some really good stuff. What's the what's the little publisher that puts out Black Diamond? Is it Abide? I
Oh
absolutely
yeah.
loved
Mhm.
Black Diamond, and I'm really hoping that publisher keeps putting out stuff of that quality, because that book was super
Well, and
good.
Andy, you put us on to Magma
Dude,
Publishing.
and they, I think, disappeared. I haven't seen anything from Magma in months,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty disappointed.
Maybe
But
maybe they're just waiting for 2026. They said, you know what? We did all we can do. We're gonna wait.
maybe, uh, I think it does just highlight though how volatile being a new publisher can be
Mm-hmm.
when you know you put out stuff like Principles of Necromancy. That book was insane.
Right.
Uh, but you can't make it on quality stuff alone. You gotta push those
You got to put
absolute
in blind
Batman
bags.
numbers. You gotta do blind bags.
My publisher of the year, hands down, DC. I think, like, giving interesting creators more runway to do exciting things with legacy characters that are unique has really worked for them, and they're going to continue to do more of that with that initiative they have next year. Um, Teetering back into bringing Vertigo back, like
Mm-hmm.
they are bringing indie hype level excitement to so many comic books they release, and have so many good creators right now. Like Jeff Lemire did, like, a whole Justice Society run, and Ram V did a New God series that was like out of control, like real wild. Um, and they just have a diversity of voices on that publisher right now that in my opinion is just unmatched at the moment. Not saying that Marvel doesn't have amazing creators doing amazing things right now, but DC really found the right projects for the right people
Yeah.
this year, and like everything gelled into just like I read so many things from DC that were awesome this year.
Well, it speaks to the quality that DC's putting out right now when you have stuff like New Gods, Resurrection Man, Poison Ivy, that Harley and Poison Ivy book
Mm-hmm.
that came out,
Yeah.
and that's the stuff that people aren't even talking about because the absolute stuff is so good.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah, right. There is kind of like a fog wall created by how big the absolute stuff has come, that it's obscuring some of the other like absolute home runs that they hit that
Yeah.
are unfortunately not getting as much press, maybe, but that's what we're here for.
Exactly. Or like, didn't that Tom King Black Canary book come out this year?
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
one of my favorite Tom King books ever,
yeah,
and that's saying a lot.
yeah.
So good.
And it's just like nobody's talking about it because the only
Yeah.
thing that's in anybody's sight is Absolute. So
Yep.
you're absolutely not wrong, Mike D. I mean,
Yeah.
hands down, DC had the year. You know, if you were handing out Heisman trophies, it would go to
it's
DC without a doubt.
And mostly because it just got new readers into the shops too, which is what
Yeah,
that's
they're doing a
the
lot for
main
the
goal.
community. Yes.
Because on social
Totally.
media, that's all I saw. These kids posting these videos saying like, "Hey, I just got in the comic books. I really love the Absolute verse," and they're just showing off all the cool books they get. And then as you watch those videos progress, they just like, I got into Absolute, and then I learned about this character and this and this. I'm just like, oh, we got them hooked. We got another one, folks. All right. And that's what I think that's exactly what the Absolute verse needed to do, and it did. And that's why I am okay with the Absolute verse, because it just smashed every expectation for people that have been reading comics for a while, and it brought in new readers, which makes the community even better.
So Absolute Batman, the biggest title of 2026 probably, but as far as Bat titles go, for you in particular, did you guys have a favorite Bat title this year? I know like Batgirl was great. Batman and Robin. There's a couple different Batman and Robins. There's like the mainline Batman and Robin, and then there was Year One with Mark Waid and Chris Samney that a lot of people were buying.
I love the
Catwoman was great.
Yeah.
A little soft reboot in Detective Comics. A new Batman volume with Fraction. Like, so I could go on and on and on. So many great Batman things this year.
I mean, for me, it's Batman Matt Fraction. I love that iteration that he did. I thought it was great, and it just like kind of turned everything on its head, made him more, I don't want to say more human, but like kind of like slowed him down a little bit and made him more methodical, and it just showed a new side to Bruce and the Batman, and I liked it. I liked it a lot, and it was a stark difference from Absolute Batman, which is maybe why I kind of liked both of them, because it's like you get the yin and the yang. But that, and then like Birds of Prey was, I don't know if that's in the same realm, but I loved Birds of Prey a ton.
Yeah, that's normally like a Gotham-esque type book, but I feel like it wasn't in this run. That it was more
was there
like
a Batgirl on
DC ladies. It was more DC ladies at
Yeah.
large. Yes, there was one Batgirl in that.
I would absolutely be remiss if I didn't mention Batman Dark Patterns by
that made a
Dan
lot
Yeah.
of lists.
because that book, I mean, I guess it was technically a macro series, but like just those first, whatever it was, 5 issues where he's dealing with that guy with all the nails all over him, like that stuff was so striking. And the story was so good surrounding it. I mean, all 12 issues are absolutely incredible. I think that's a definitely going to be a contender for like a collected Absolute edition. I think there's no doubt that will get the Absolute treatment. But if Absolute Batman hadn't come out in 2025, I think people would be talking about Dark Patterns the same way they're talking about Absolute Batman.
Yeah, sure. Absolute books in particular. Did you guys have a favorite one? The ones you hear the most are obviously the Trinity. You've got the Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman, and then as a fourth, I'd throw on maybe the Flash. Are there any I'm missing that you were like, these ones in particular blew me away?
Yeah, Martian Manhunter.
Yeah,
That one,
Javier Rodriguez.
fucking blew my socks off.
Yeah,
it was, honestly, and we've talked about it before, it's the most daring comic book in the Absolute verse. It's trying different things. It's challenging the reader. Like, Absolute Batman and the Trinity or whatever, it's cool because it's like the mirror verse of what we have. And you get like these weird, cool silhouettes, and like Batman's bat symbol turns into an axe. Like, that's fucking rad. Okay. That's why people like heavy metal, because it's cool and loud and unique. Fucking Martian Manhunter is the psychedelic furs just really throwing you for some weird loops, and you don't know if you like it at first, and then as it goes on, you're just like, I think I'm in love with this. This is amazing, and I feel like myself included, a lot of people were caught off guard by it.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I picked it up just because I was picking up everything Absolute when it came out, and it quickly became the top of my to read pile.
Yeah. And can I give an honorable mention to the Absolute verse?
Sure.
Absolute Green Lantern, keep doing your goddamn thing, man.
That's what I was gonna say.
You are
Yeah.
just keep doing it, baby. I love it.
That book was like kind of a slow roll, but the fact that it like somebody read some Grant Morrison and was like, I can do something with this,
Mm-hmm.
and like turned it into like a spiritual study on like emotion and trauma and all this stuff. Like,
Right.
such a cool way to explore those topics with a character whose superpowers basically come from emotions
Yeah.
through
They wear a
a
mood ring.
ring. Yeah, exactly. They wear a mood ring. Exactly. Yeah, I agree with you, Greg.
I would say, even though Superman is like one of the most talked about superhero characters, I still think that like that is a under discussed comic or like an overshadowed comic
Sure.
Yeah.
of the Absolute universe. I think that book's been so stinking good. If I had to pick a personal favorite, I think I'd go the Wonder Woman. I think there's just, Kelly Thompson's voice in comics is one that I've just grown so accustomed to and love so much now that it is like a warm cup of cocoa reading her books now. So that's
There,
my fave.
there
What's
was an
great about the
intern.
Absolute verse? Oh, sorry, Andy. I didn't mean to talk over you.
Oh, you're good.
It's just you go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say there's something for everyone in the Absolute verse. There's different, tastes, and just like the Boulevard Space Camper IPA line of IPAs, there's something for everyone. You'll be hard pressed not to find a book in the Absolute verse that you don't like.
Yeah.
We had an intern over the summer who
At first issue
was at my work. Who was like he's like a MCU guy. He's super into the movies and stuff, but doesn't know really anything about comics. But he watches like comic YouTube to like figure out what's going on and what's going to be happening in the next movies. So he found out I like comics, and we talked about the Absolute stuff, and he was like, oh man, Absolute Batman sounds so good. And the thing I told him, and I bought him an issue of Absolute Batman and Absolute Wonder Woman, because I was like, Absolute Batman's going to be the book that everybody talks about. It's going to be the money book, but Absolute Wonder Woman is the one you want to read for enjoyment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just the best superhero comic that DC's putting out, in my opinion.
And one thing that like I do appreciate how much depth Absolute Batman has, that when you're talking about like when most people talk about what's good about it or why you should read it, we're mentioning all of the things that like are dumb male brain. They're like the bat axe, his things are like his wings are whips. Like, he's absolutely jacked, this guy.
Yeah.
He's massive.
Yeah, he's Spike
He
TV,
gets
baby.
like the Bane juice at some point and gets even more jacked on top of being hugely jacked. Like, pummels people's faces. Like, yeah, all that stuff speaks to like the little boy WWE power fantasy sort of thing,
Mm-hmm.
but it's packaged in a way that is commenting on our times and fighting fascism, like
Yeah.
and big pharma
Mm-hmm.
and like the prison institution. Like there's all kinds of things that it like brings up that add another layer to this that I think like sometimes I roll my eyes when people are like this like hella macho book was a fantastic comic, and I'm like, man, the stuff they say about us as comic book fans is really true. But this one, the Absolute Batman really does transcend the just like goofball power fantasy of it all, which also is like an underappreciated aspect of it.
And to that end, I think it bears mentioning too. I mean, we've talked about Absolute Verse for half this episode now, but Daniel Warren Johnson's Absolute Batman Annual, like
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
maybe the book of the year. Just for that panel of him snapping that white supremacist's arm.
Yeah. He's got like a guy in a stand-up arm bar almost.
Yeah.
He just
I
cracks it
I
right
will
up.
say it is probably the most notable and buzzworthy episode of the year, or
Yeah.
issue of the year. Like
Yeah.
that thing got memed into oblivion because there's so many parallels to what's happening now in our everyday life with what was happening in the Absolute Annual. There was also some controversy because of the Felix comic art variant snafu that happened, and the low quantity and high price of it all. So that led to a little more headlines for it. It was one of those comics you just couldn't escape the last 4 months of the year.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. To continue on this thought, let's maybe talk about the best superhero comic specifically.
Sure.
Like,
Mhm.
and I'd be interested to hear from you guys if like personally, that we don't have to talk about them ad nauseum on this list, but personally, do the Absolute books elevate to the best superhero books for you, or was it something else on another publisher or even on DC? Vargas mentioned it earlier. Poison Ivy was a book that's just maintained like incredible consistency and has like Alan Moore Swamp Thing kind of vibes to it, and could
Mhm.
be one of those books that we look back on this run and say, yeah, this was maybe one of the all-time DC runs, especially one that stars like um, a woman character, right? Like how many women-led comics make it past a 12-issue maxi,
Yeah.
or a 20-issue run or 30-issue run? Like it's on its way to 40 right now,
Yeah.
which is saying something. Incredible Hulk, Philip Kennedy Johnson's Incredible Hulk had like an incredible year, and we've transitioned into Infernal Hulk now, which already has like tons of buzz over at Marvel. The Ultimate Spider-Man stayed hitting, and has been like a huge thing for them. Tom King's Wonder Woman, I think, is a book that like is very divisive now, and some people either love it or hate it, and there's not a lot of in between. I fall on the love it side of that spectrum,
Mhm.
but those are some of my favorites, with Poison Ivy probably being my pick for the book that I looked forward to the most month to month.
I've got a couple on my list. Zdarsky's Captain America
Mhm.
remains incredibly interesting. Um, not only for the dueling Captain Americas that he's got going on, but um, when you put it in the context of a Canadian writing a character like Captain America, I think it just gives it that little bit of extra interesting flavor um,
Yep.
that I look forward to every month.
I'll say, can I say something about that book too?
Yeah.
That like, I mean, that we've always had a thing with like Doctor Doom and hiding his real self, and we've amped up the level of like the face that fascism puts on and presents to the world versus what the gruesomeness behind the mask,
Yeah.
and continuing to use Doctor Doom as the metaphor for that. And like, sometimes in the world we live in, we want more subtlety, and sometimes we demand a lack of subtlety, just depending on like how things are going and what we want to hear in the art that we consume. And this was a year, I think, where we wanted that lack of subtlety maybe meant a lot to a lot of us, and that, I think, One World Under Doom delivered on that, and this new Captain America volume delivered on that.
For sure. The other, I guess, pure superhero book on my list was Alien versus Avengers. And
Yeah, so fun.
so, I mean, not only fun, but like
Popcorn book.
total popcorn book, but a popcorn book that like it delivers on the
It
premise.
had
And
it was better than it had any business being. Yeah.
yeah, well, when you get like Jonathan Hickman and Isad Ribic
Yes.
doing the damn thing, like
Yep.
it's just an incredible book. That I think this is one that you could easily recommend to your non comic book friends.
Yeah.
That will get them to read more comic books.
Yep. Love that.
And then one that I have that sort of, I guess, toes the line, but would you consider Helen of Windhorn a superhero book?
Yes-ish.
Mike Diaz.
Yeah, I mean, they're superheroes. It's something I would put it on, like, if we were going to talk about this categorically and continue our conversation, I would put that under, like, a best of indies list.
Yeah.
But, yeah, superhero adjacent.
So I had that.
Okay, yeah.
Helen of Windhorn.
Greg, did you have a favorite superhero book?
Yeah, I'll say quickly, what Ryan North has been doing with the Fantastic Four needs to be talked about more. He has, in my eyes, revitalized a book that had been cast to the wayside for a little bit. 2025 actually was just a big year for Fantastic Four in general, with the movie and this comic book just kind of compounding onto itself, and then the maker's involvement in the Ultimate Volume 2 universe and all that. So I think, slyly, the Fantastic Four, I'm actually a really big Daredevil fan. So, I'm really excited that Stephanie Phillips is taking over for Daredevil. I think that's going to be badass. But this year, Fantastic Four really made an impact on me and my collecting.
Yep. That rules. Since we're talking big two and superheroes, let's and I mentioned One World Under Doom, let's talk events. And I wouldn't include Absolute
or Ultimate
as an event, right? Those haven't, or Ultimate, like especially Absolute hasn't like fully collided together yet, or like it has just started to. But when we say event, I'm thinking a little more like some of the comics over the past year where some of the titles have intermingled with like a little mainline story. So I would put One World Under Doom in that category, Imperial at Marvel, DC KO, even though we're kind of like maybe only through the midway point on it, I'd put that on the list. DC We Are Yesterday. I don't know if you guys even know that event happened, but that was the event that like kind of led us into KO. And then Marvel, aside from Imperial, I feel like Marvel didn't do a ton of like broader events that moved the needle for me, but that Age of Revelation was one where they just said, hey, let's full stop on all the X titles and do a line-wide X-Men event. Are there any events I'm missing, or did you guys have any standouts from that list where you were like, yeah, that's the one for me?
What do we consider Batman vs. Deadpool? Where does that fall?
I think that's like, it's too comic. it's 2 comic books and it's a special. Yeah, I guess you could lump it in as an event.
I mean,
The hype surrounding it was like event
that's what I mean. I
worthy,
mean,
but for
it was a big event for the comic book community.
yeah,
I mean, it was a big deal.
yep.
That's not my pick. I just wanted to know where
What
we wanted to put Deadpool, Batman, Deadpool.
I think I would put it. I think you're right. I think it makes sense in the conversation of event, and if I'm speaking like purely enjoyment in what it gave me,
Mhm.
it's far from the top of my list, but worth mentioning. You're right.
Okay. Top of my list, and even though it's still going, but an event that captured the idea and spirit of what a publisher-wide event needed to be, which was fun, impactful, and it didn't take itself too seriously, is DCKO. I have never seen in my recent years with collecting DC lean into the bit so much as in with DCKO.
Yeah. I mean, they did a similar thing with metal, right? Where they were like, yeah, this is going to be metal. The variant covers we're going to give you are going to be like a metal album cover.
But
like,
even then, and Andy can back me up on
but
this, even then,
yeah,
DC metal and death metal were so convoluted with lore and backstory, it took the fun out of it. DCKO said, no. We're going to do mainline fun, but make it absolute verse, easy to follow. And while we do get some incredible variant covers from amazing artists, we still get just your bare bones pitting against one another DC fights that we want to see and that we've all talked about at the lunchroom table when we were school kids.
Yeah.
Yep.
What if Superman punched everyone?
Yeah. With brass knuckles that are made of suns.
They're made of suns.
Are we being bugged? Because I know we've had this conversation, so it seems weird.
And the tie-ins have been great. Like Night Fight has been
totally
really fun too. I think that's an easy one for me. I liked Imperial a lot.
Same.
And I liked One World Under Doom. Imperial is one that like I absolutely would not recommend to somebody who is like new to comics. I think if you're a casual reader, then you could understand enough of the mainline title of One World Under Doom, but yeah, DCKO is scratching my itches in all the right places.
With Imperial, here's how Imperial felt to me. It felt like as a reader and a pretty involved participant in the lore of Marvel, it felt like an old event that I love, of just like, I know enough to get through this, but they're still making it fun and adding new elements, and there's like a whodunit thing. It's like, if you're an old head like me that have been kind of like experiencing like event fatigue or just like kind of just like over it, Imperial was a breath of fresh air to something that I think I remembered. And it's just like, oh man, this is fun.
Yeah, and it sets up a lot of. I just reread it all in order with all the tie-ins.
Nice.
And it's a very rewarding experience doing it all in one sitting like that. And it does, in an exciting way, kind of like remind you of the cosmic world of Marvel at large, and then create some big swing changes.
Right.
That set up some of 2026 and like the broader Marvel Universe stuff that we're probably going to see with like Wakanda being a power in outer space and what's his butt? I always forget
Nova?
the character's name. Not Nova. Head of the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Peter Quill?
Star-Lord. Yeah, Peter Quill is now like taking his father's spot as like an emperor, and we've got the Kree scroll thing in a bit of disarray. So we're gonna have fallout from all those things in the
it felt very like White Lotus to me. I'm just like, oh, this is like kind of messy. I'm kind of enjoying reading this.
Yeah. All right. Any other thoughts on events? You want to move on to another category?
Wait, Andy, did you give yours?
I mean, do I really need to say that it's
Yeah,
DCKO?
Oh, okay.
DCKO.
I was just
We're
making,
pretty.
I didn't want your voice to go unheard, my man.
Everybody
We're,
knew.
we're we're unanimous on that one.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do. We've been talking about big two long enough. Let's do best indie comics.
Okay.
Whew.
I know there's too many to cover everything, and if we would just want to like run down lists of like books that like you wanted to shout out or say why you loved them, let's do it. I'll say for me, and I think for all of us, obviously, Exquisite Corpses. We started a whole separate show just to cover that every issue, and that is my clear favorite as far as indie offerings go from this year. But I also noted We're Taking Everyone Down With Us, which I thought was just such a fun mini thrill ride. I think it was like 5 or 6 issues in total, but great book. Lost Fantasy from the creators of Indigo Children. That book's a real hoot. And then this started well before 2025, but Void Rivals was a book for me that I think stayed really exciting and keeps upping the ante, and has maintained quality in a way that has made it worth shouting out. That it feels like a big two book, even though it's an independent comic. Anything from you guys?
Yeah, I'll fly through my list because it's mostly indie stuff.
And I'll say one of the sub lists I have is best horror. So if there's anything you want to save for a horror conversation,
Okay.
we can.
Okay. All right. So these are all
That's why
indie.
Vargas is like, that's my entire list is horror.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll just
Never mind.
No. So I already mentioned Hell to Windhorn. An incredible book. Power Fantasy is worth mentioning. Assorted Crisis Events might be the book of the year.
Yeah,
Escape.
I missed that one.
Yep, Escape.
Skinbreaker is apparently blowing people up way more than I thought it was.
Mm-hmm.
I read the first issue and I said, maybe I'll skip this one, but maybe I need to go back. And I think Skinbreaker and Assorted Crisis Events I need to revisit or buy the first trades.
I'm gonna go back to Skinbreaker in trade because I picked up the first issue and thought it was interesting, but not. You got to make cuts somewhere in your pull list. You know?
Totally.
Bug Wars was insanely fun. I'm really excited for that special and for the next series. This, I guess, could be considered a horror book, but I have to mention Everything Dead and Dying.
Everything Dead and Dying. I'll have to Google that.
Dude, if you didn't pick up Everything Dead and Dying,
it's the sad
missed
book.
out. It's the sad zombie book.
Oh, yes, the on the farm.
Yes.
And the guy who's like keeping his his family zombies around.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
You can't spell
that book
zombie without emo.
That I'd say that's maybe like I don't have a best single first issue list going, but that was one of the best standalone first issues that I read this year.
It was really, really good.
I got Ghost Pepper on my list.
Andy, you're
that was a fun one.
List.
Out of Alcatraz.
Very good.
I missed that one. I didn't read that.
Free for All might be my best one shot of the year.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Patrick Horvath billionaire battle royale book.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then Beneath the Trees 2. I know when we talked about it, it was one of those like kind of went into it expecting a cash grab, and it was way better than it had any right to be. So Patrick Horvath having an absolutely killer year with both books that he's on.
My tinfoil hat conspiracy is IDW saw how popular Volume 1 was getting, and he had it all planned out. And he's just like, you know what? IDW came to him and goes, we need to cut this in half and put the back half of this as a Volume 2 because we have a gold mine here, Patrick, and we just need to cut it up a little bit. I may be blowing smoke up my ass, but I mean, it does feel very much like it's one linear story, and they just decided to separate it into two different things.
Yeah.
My indie thing, and it may be a bit of a cheat, but we covered a lot of the new Godzilla books that emerged this year. Toho made a big push because it's like what anniversary is this for Godzilla? I mean, it's a big anniversary for Godzilla, and they really knuckled down with IDW and put out, the regular Godzilla, Escape the Dead Zone, Space Starship Godzilla.
Yeah.
And every one of them has just been an absolute delight to read. It's a different tone for each book, which is great because it doesn't feel like a too homogenized corporate thing. It does feel like this kind of like weird communal agreement of what this Godzilla kind of feel should be for IDW. And I've loved it. I've gotten every book. It's been like phenomenal. So I don't know how long it's going to last, but I'm glad we got it for 2025 and they just rocked it as well as they did. And of course, Exquisite Corpses. I love that book so much. I just read issue 8 a couple days ago. It just kind of like shook up everything, and I don't know, man. It's so good. So yeah, Godzilla and Exquisite Corpses are the ones that really stick out for me this year.
Let's move to best horror comic. Vargas, you mentioned Beneath the Trees. Obviously, that's on my list of standouts. Volume 2. I added Let This One Be a Devil, the James Tynion New Jersey Devil origin story. Jump Scare was a book that I was so delighted by. Which is someone who can like steal the powers of villains of every horror movie she's watched and kind of becomes a superhero vigilante based on these horror movie superpowers. So much fun. I Was a Fashion School Serial Killer.
Oh yeah.
Was a great one.
Very good.
You'll Do Bad Things. Was really interesting. I think like those were the ones I listed, but just to pull a couple more out of my head, Orla was one I think that came out on Mad Cave maybe, or Oni, that is like a fun feminist horror, and these books are very hard to read and like full of trigger warnings, but Luana Vecchio's Doll Parts, which was part of the Lovesick comic she did, was, I mean, absolutely haunting in a way that is hard for me to enjoy, but but you got to appreciate like how stinking good it was. You know what I mean? Like her comics she writes, I'm always just like, man, hope all is well. Like you are channeling some dark shit here. But one of my favorite artists in comics right now.
Gotta mention the Event Horizon book that Christian Ward is doing.
Yes, good call. Good call.
That book was insane. And then I haven't read issue 2 yet, but I really enjoyed the new 30 Days of Night book.
Yep.
It's probably a little too early to say if that's one of the best horror books of the year because I'm kind of only basing it on issue 1, but just revisiting the whole idea of vampires above the Arctic Circle and then building on the lore of that is pretty exciting to me. So maybe I'll circle back to that one next year and let you guys know how it turned out.
Speaking of the ones that spun out of movies, there was a Sleepy Hollow comic that is a follow-up on the Sleepy Hollow movie.
Yes.
It's like a 5 years later after the end of that movie, and that that first issue really got me too.
Yeah.
And I was just like, by the time I read the first issue, I'd missed pre-orders for like the second and third issue already. So that's one I need to catch up on.
And some insane art in that Sleepy Hollow book.
Yes. Very cool.
I
Anything for you,
like
Greg? We name them all?
I like the Universal monster stuff. I thought Invisible Man was good,
Oh
and
yeah.
Oh,
all that
yeah,
shit.
so good.
Um, the only other scary book I read was Exquisite Corpses. Like, I'm not really a scary book reader. But yeah, the Event Horizon one was a good call. But I think I was trepidatious about the Universal monster stuff. I thought it was gonna be hokey. I thought it was gonna be like kind of just how like Dynamite does those like Disney books of like Hades and like and Scar from Lion King. I thought it was gonna be like something like that where it's just like, why the fuck am I reading this? It's like just meant to sell covers, and it's not that at all. These are all like really engrossing stories. I remember the Dracula one was like really haunting with James Tianian and Martin Simmons, I think, did the artwork.
Yes.
It was just
They did a collected like director's cut version of it recently.
Yeah.
That I bought.
Those were really, really, really good. So
Yep.
I think those are the ones that I would just say are on my scary list. Spooky
comics.
Did,
yeah, Invisible Man was great.
Invisible Man, I know for sure came out this year. Did Mummy come out this year?
Who?
Because the Mummy, because that
I
Mummy book
don't
was
know.
awesome.
I don't know.
Well, worth shouting out anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mummy. That's for you, Mummy.
Pour one out for Mummy.
Pour one out for Mummy.
Those are a lot of the like big categories that I had. I mean, just personally for me, I'm a big X-Men fan, and so I wanted to shout out a couple X books. Uncanny Volume 6 by Gail Simone has been a lot of fun and has done different things with X-Men that kind of give us a breather from Krakoa. It feels a lot smaller and intimate, and it's bringing the like kind of young adolescent trainee part back into X-Men in a way that I've always like enjoyed with New Mutants or some of the more OG X-Men books where they feel like they are heroes getting their feet wet. It did a couple like fresh things while simultaneously like getting back to basics with X-Men in a new decentralized kind of environment. So that was my favorite of the relaunch. The Phoenix book from Stephanie Phillips I thought was really good. The Storm solo series by, and forgive me for the pronunciation, Marewa Ayodele, was such a good book month to month. Had like the power and oomph of some of those like Al Ewing types of book, like when he was writing like Immortal Hulk, doing his first Immortal series, and like every issue you were just like, oh man, like I'm feeling like the power of this character and like the like it's like larger place in the universe. Like a lot of these comics left me feeling like that after each issue. And then Exquisite X-Men was a really fun one by Eve Ewing. Any other takes on X books before I pivot from that?
No.
I agree
I know
with you.
I'm the biggest X
completely.
head.
Is Wolverine
Alright.
still in there?
Wolverine has an ongoing still, but didn't hit as hard for me this year. And again, maybe I needed a breather from Wolverine for a little bit because Percy's run was great and it went to a full 50 issues. We had like I think Ahmed did the newest Wolverine volume, and it's rewrites a little bit of what we know about the Wendigo, which has
That's right.
obvious ties to like Wolverine's early stories. So good series, but not on my best ofs. Best Spider books, Ultimate Spider-Man I put on here, and that's probably my winner for Spider books. But I also wanted to shout out All New Venom, which was the Mary Jane Watson Venom. Amazing Volume 7 has been great. And Eddie Brock Carnage, I thought, was a clever departure that was a fun and rewarding read. And I did just want to say that, like, Marvel cashed in on all the Spider-Verse stuff and crossing universes and did a lot of really fun stuff with Dan Slott. And now that we have Dan Slott writing stuff over on DC with Ultimate Superman, we they still did it like a Web of Venomverse and a Web of Spider-Verse like mini event this year, but it was a well-needed rest for me from all of the like 40 different Spider-Man comics this year, and some of the basics of like Ultimate Spider-Man is Peter and Mary Jane, Venom is Mary Jane, Amazing Volume 7 is Norman Osborn and Peter Parker and Ben Reilly, and then Eddie Brock Carnage is obviously your OG Venom being another, but like those are the 5 biggest characters in Amazing, and even though they're doing new and interesting stuff with it, we're back to basics with like getting our feet grounded in the characters that like make Spider-Man what it is. So a little salute to the Spider-Man crew for taking a break on some of the Spider-Verse stuff and doing some interesting things with OG characters. And I think that's all I had. Great year for comics. Any others that you guys didn't get to shout out that you want to give props to?
No. I mean, I think the main thing I wanted to touch on is that when 2025 started, I felt like kind of disconnected from my collection and like collecting itself. I felt like I was just like going into the habit of just like buy the book, put the book away, buy the book, put the book away. And I distinctly remember in 2025 trying to be more engaged with my collection and reading more and being more purposeful with my reading and reviewing books and talking about them. And I think a big part of what kind of inspired me to get back into it was, well, I mean, obviously the show, but like our Discord has really been like just a great place for me to grow like and to share my experiences with other people that I really enjoy being around and talking with. It's like the best group chat to be a part of for me. Like I could get recommendations from people. I can recommend things to other people. It inspired me to get like a League of Comic Geeks profile to like log my shit and read. And so I'm not just reading a book and putting it away. I am being purposeful and like writing down what I actually thought while reading this book. And that has kind of like elevated my critical analysis of like the hobby that I love. And I think a lot of us get into that rut of just like, I have this thing, I've been doing it forever, I can't stop. So I just like do it. And I think I found that spark again this year with comic books.
Yeah, I think that's something we've talked about before, is like the ebb and flow of everyone's relationship with comic books. And it is one of those things that is a luxury to have additional money to spend on comic books, period, right? So we've all hit times in our life where like we had to take a break, be it just exhaustion from, a singular type of media or financially or whatever it is. I'm surrounded by way too many comic books for one person to have, and I've gone through the same thing as well. I'll shout out to Joe in the Discord, who writes such good takes and rates.
Dude, I love it.
Comics every week. So good about like reading so much stuff, and that always reminds me to like, oh, I missed that, I need to check that out. And it makes me wish that I would write down, what I thought about this, that, or the other, and revisit some of those things, or even the practice of just like writing one paragraph about each first issue I read, so it just sinks into my brain a little more as something I remember, as opposed to like I've got to get through a stack
to
that's what it was. To keep it moving.
You're just like, well, I have to read them, and you're not absorbing. And I'm telling you guys, I know Andy has one, but Mike, a League of Comic Geeks like profile, like I have found myself just like writing things down more and like looking for themes and different things. And it's just like
Yeah.
I'm not just like reading a first issue to like talk about on the show, or I'm not just like getting the newest book because like I need to get the newest book. Like I actually found myself just like really enjoying the idiosyncrasies of my hobby. And like I'm going back and reading old volumes of stuff of just like of writers I love. Like right now I'm going through all the volumes of Deadly Class from volume 1 to like volume 11 and
So good.
rereading Deadly Class. It is like just incredible. I know I don't want to go on a tangent here for Deadly Class, but like if you haven't read it, go find it. And if you have read it, go back and read it again because it is just peak Wes Craig and Rick Remender, man. Like it is so fucking good.
Yeah.
That's all I had. Andy.
Vargas.
Yeah, I mean, we are. I'm in a moment right now where I can't buy as many comics as I used to, so I'm certainly in the same boat where I have to be very intentional about the things that I buy. So I have found myself pulling out more of my old trades and stuff. And I that's the motivation I'm trying to find too, I think, is just um pulling more out of the stuff that I do read as opposed to reading things in bulk. You know, normally I would come to recordings of this show with like 6 comics locked and loaded and only talk about 4 of them. But you know, I think this year, you know, in 2026, I'm going to have to come loaded with 1 or 2 issues, but actually have a lot more thought put into why I liked it, why I didn't like it, you know, what it reminds me of, that kind of thing. And then pulling out a whole, you know, I've got piles of trades I haven't read, and gonna have to go through those and read that stuff. You know, I've got a library of digital books that I haven't read. I've got, I think, every Hellboy comic ever printed sitting in my
Yeah.
digital library.
It's like daunting to even start.
Yeah,
All
but
I'm hearing
like
is Patreon content.
yeah, exactly, right? Like Vargas reads Hellboy is
Maybe we just
a
watch
show.
you read.
Yeah, right.
There he goes.
He's reading.
Yeah,
again.
so that's the stuff that I'm sort of mulling around in my noggin. But you know, as I was going through my list for 2025, it really did hit home to me that the people that say that comics are dead are just people who are not comic book fans, because
Yeah.
the stuff that came out this year is like all-time quality stuff. And if you're somebody who claims they're a comic book fan, but no good comics have come out in the last 25 years, then you're a fool. Like,
yeah, so many shows are still getting made, and so many new comics are getting optioned, and we're not even talking about like even superhero stuff, just like in tons of indies.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, I think the hobby's in a good place. I think the industry's in a good place. It's an exciting time to be a comic book fan. And a more exciting time to be a comic book podcaster, because you get to talk about all this cool stuff as it's happening. So feel very privileged to not only be able to participate in this hobby, but participate in a way where I get to interact with the community and my buddies every week, and we get to talk about cool stuff like comic books.
So
I love it.
So what I'm hearing is next year, or this year, 2026, First Issue Club is going less style, more substance, and we're gonna finally be good.
Oh,
Hey,
we'll get there someday.
2026 is try year.
What does that mean?
We're gonna try to make it good. We're gonna try.
We're gonna make the attempt.
Okay. We're actually gonna give it a good solid run this
Well,
year.
actually, yeah, right.
The 8 years before this, we were just goofing. That was just
We're
practice.
coasting.
Now
Yeah.
we're hitting the go button. Let's do this.
Yep.
We're gonna submit them to some film festivals
Yes.
to really get our name out there. Gonna try to get an Eisner this year.
All right. Well, thanks everybody. Hope you had a great 2025, and here's to another solid year of comics on the way in 2026. See ya. First Issue Club podcast is brought to you by Boulevard Brewing Company, the people responsible for our favorite drinks, the Space Camper Cosmic IPA family of beers. Our show is edited and produced by our hosts Mike DeStacy, Greg Lichtag, and Andy Vargas. You can find us on social media at First Issue Club, and you can join the supporters who keep our humble podcast going on our Patreon at patreon.com/firstissueclub.